Hello. Today is July 29th, 2025, a Tuesday. It's time again to pull a really interesting, trending article from the archives and see what's cooking. Alright, let's dive in. Today's paper is a real mind bender, all about teaching AI to predict the future. Sounds like sci-fi, but it's getting closer to reality. The title is Advancing Event Forecasting through Massive Training of Large Language Model Solutions on Broader Impacts. The title is arXiv. arXiv over 7.19,477. It's long. So, what's this paper trying to solve? Well, imagine you could ask your phone, hey, what's the probability that Spinlet will land a person on Mars by 2035? And it gives you a well-reasoned percentage. That's event forecasting. The goal is to get large language models, LLMs, or clones, to be as good as or even better than human superforecasters. These are the top 1% of prediction experts. People who are just incredibly good at seeing what's coming. Now, you might think, oh, AI is already doing this. Early studies had let's say, embarrassing problems. Like, they were predicting events that had already happened before the cave knowledge not off date. That's not predicting, that's just remembering. It's like me predicting who won the World Series last year. So the community got pretty skeptical. That this paper argues that hey, with the latest models, like OpenAI's series and new training methods, the time is right to really go for it. To do massive, large-scale training and build a true AI superforecaster. Training an AI to predict the future has some super unique challenges. It's not like teaching it to play chess or write an email. First, there's the noisiness and sparsity problem. The future is inherently messy and uncertain, right? It's the noise. If they're trying to predict an election, there are a million moving parts. And major events like a presidential election or an Olympics don't happen very often. That's the sparsity. So the AI has very few similar examples to learn from. The second big problem is the knowledge not of. This is a huge headache. Let's say an age was last updated in December 2023. You can't use any event from before that date to train or test it, because the AI might just have the answer memorized. This throws away a massive amount of potential training data from history. And third, there's the simple reward structure problem. This one's a bit sneaky. In a task like forecasting, an AI can learn to just make extreme predictions. It can say 100% chance. This happens or a percent chance. If it gets lucky, it gets a big reward. Without ever learning to do proper, nuanced reasoning. It's like a student who guesses on a multiple, or they test and gets an N, but they didn't actually learn anything. So, how does the paper propose to solve these tricky problems? This is where it gets really creative. To deal with the knowledge of not of, they have a brilliant idea. Use events that LLMs are bad at recalling from memory. For example, an LLM might know everything about two different scientific papers. But if you ask it, which of these two will be cited more in the next 5 years? It often has no idea. It's a comparison it hasn't memorized. This forces the AI to reason instead of just recalling a fact. Another wild idea is to train the AI on counterforms. Basically fake events. You take a real event, like a successful rocket launch, and you create a set of fake news articles and reports about it failing. Then you ask the AI to make a prediction based on this fake information. This forces the model to ground its reasoning in the documents it's given, yet in its memorized knowledge of what actually happened. It's like building a mental muscle for reasoning, and to fix the simple reward problem, they suggest using auxiliary reward signals. Basically, don't just reward the AI for getting the final answer right. You should also reward it for the quality of its reasoning. You could have another AI act as a judge. Being the first AI means to bust up logic and scoring how sensible it is. So this is all about making the AI a better thinker, not just a better guesser. And to do that, you need a ton of data. The paper proposes going on a massive data gathering spool from three main sources. First, market datasets from prediction platforms like pre-market. Second, public datasets. which are huge government and economic databases. With things like depth figures where patterns will conflict data, and third crawling datasets, which means automatically creating questions from places like Wikipedia, news sites, and even scientific papers on arXiv. Okay, so this is all very cool for researchers. But what does it mean for us in our everyday lives? How would this technology actually be used? Let's think of a few examples. First, imagine a much smarter chatbot or dialogue system. You could be planning a vacation and ask your AI assistant, "What's the likelihood of a major airline strike in France this August?" Instead of just a link to a news article, it could give you a probabilistic forecast, like, there is a 35% chance based on recent union negotiations, historical data from the past decade, and current economic pressures. That makes them a real planning partner. Second, think about information extraction and text summarization. This technology is at the heart of event forecasting. To predict a company's future success, the AI has to sift through thousands of news articles, financial reports, and social media posts, extracting the key information, summarizing the sentiment. The business could use this to get an instant, generated summary of the market landscape and future risks, without needing a team of analysts to work for weeks. And for our third example, let's get a bit abstract. Think of it like a new kind of machine translation. Instead of translating from French to English, it's translating messy, chaotic, uncertain present into a clear probabilistic map of the future. A city government could use it to manipulate on traffic and public events into a forecast of our emergency services. With the most leading, it's translating ambiguity into actionable clarity. Of course, there's the danger of self-fulfilling prophecies. With a highly trusted AI economic downturn, it could cause a panic that actually creates one. There's also the risk of malicious attacks, where people could try to poison the latest data with fake news to manipulate its predictions. So our whole idea of an AI superforecaster is incredibly exciting. It's something we have to build carefully and thoughtfully. But wow, what a fascinating peek into what might be coming next. This paper really lays out a roadmap for it. That's all for today. Catch you on the next one.